Many modern cars become a real headache for their owners, especially once the factory warranty ends. These vehicles are often packed with complicated systems and are known for frequent mechanical and electronic problems, which can result in very high repair bills and major inconvenience. It's important for buyers to realize that choosing some of these new cars could lead to a future full of breakdowns and expensive visits to the mechanic. That's where Auto V Fix comes in. Our goal is to help car buyers and owners understand these risks so they can make smarter, more informed choices. However, there are certain vehicles that go beyond just being unreliable. They're nearly impossible to fix, seem to be intentionally designed to break down early, and are unlikely to last much beyond 60,000 miles or 100,000 kilometers. We're going to look at those vehicles, starting with one of the worst offenders, the Jeep Wrangler and Grand Cherokee 4xe. Jeeps already have a reputation for being unreliable, but things have gotten much worse in recent years. A big reason is Stellantis, the company behind Jeep, has made major budget cuts that have hurt quality. This drop in quality becomes even more obvious in Jeep's 4xe plug-in hybrid models. Their hybrid system is considered one of the poorest in the industry. It often suffers from failed hybrid batteries, broken power inverters, charging issues, and non-stop electrical problems that are tricky and expensive to fix. On top of that, the Grand Cherokee models commonly experience engine troubles, transmission breakdowns, and failing air suspension systems. All signs point to these vehicles not being built for long-term use, tough conditions, or high mileage. The overly complex design and fragile engineering make them feel more like throwaway products best gotten rid of before the warranty runs out. If you choose to keep these kinds of vehicles, you're likely signing up for a never-ending cycle of repairs and frustration. The next car on our list is another very popular model, but sadly, it's not built to last. That car is the Nissan Rogue. Like Stellantis, Nissan has been cutting costs drastically for several years, and it's taken a serious toll on the company. These cost-cutting efforts have nearly pushed Nissan to collapse and have badly damaged the brand's reputation for building reliable vehicles. One clear example of Nissan's poor choices is their use of overly complex drivetrains in many of their newer models. The latest version of the Rogue uses a tiny 1.5-liter three-cylinder turbocharged engine that features extremely complicated variable compression technology. While this might sound advanced, it's very likely to become a nightmare to fix once the warranty is over. The Rogue also comes with a Jatco-branded CVT, continuously variable transmission, and that's another huge red flag. Nissan's CVTs have long had a reputation for being fragile, unreliable, and prone to failing, sometimes even before the warranty expires. Unfortunately, these engines and transmissions are not built to last or to be serviced easily. They are essentially time bombs waiting to fail. When they do, the cost of repair often outweighs the value of the vehicle itself, turning what was once a useful car into a worthless pile of scrap metal. Now, not all premature engine or transmission failures come from overly complicated technology. Sometimes it's simply a matter of poor engineering and bad build quality. That brings us to the next group of vehicles on this list, Hyundais and Kias equipped with GD New or Theta 2.0-liter and 2.4-liter four-cylinder engines. These engines were commonly used in Hyundai and Kia vehicles made between 2011 and 2022, and unfortunately, they've been the source of countless problems. What's even more worrying is that the 2-liter engine is still being used in newer models like the Hyundai Kona Kia Seltos and Kia Soul, meaning the problems haven't gone away. These engines have a history of serious failures, and owning a vehicle with one is a major risk. Even though General Motors, GM has been using the same basic V8 engines in many of their trucks and full-size SUVs, specifically the 5.3-liter and 6.2-liter Ecotec V8s, these engines have a serious flaw. They're known for premature lifter failure, a problem that can completely ruin the engine. This issue has been around ever since GM added cylinder deactivation technology more than a decade ago. Despite several updates over the years, these engine failures continue to happen in newer models, and frankly, that's unacceptable. To make things worse, these vehicles are also affected by transmission issues, especially with GM's 10-speed automatic transmission. This transmission is actually a joint design shared with Ford, and unfortunately, Ford's F-150s suffer from the same kinds of failures. Considering how long these problems have existed, it's clear that getting dependable performance from these vehicles beyond the warranty period is a risky bet. But even more risky are many European luxury vehicles, which are well known for becoming extremely problematic once their warranty runs out. After that point, things often start falling apart. Frequent breakdowns, failing parts, and repair bills so high they make the cars practically worthless. One of the best, or perhaps worst, examples of this issue is the Land Rover Range Rover. This vehicle is often considered the king of unreliable luxury cars. Just about every part of it, from the electronics, air suspension and transmission to the engine, is known to fail early. And the older the vehicle gets, the worse the problems become. On top of all that, the cost of repairs outside the warranty is so shockingly high that it makes little financial sense to keep pouring money into it, especially when the resale value drops drastically. This is a recurring issue with all Land Rovers and many other European luxury cars. They may look and feel premium, but underneath that, they're often just money pits with very little chance of lasting for the long haul. A vehicle that comes dangerously close to this level of disaster is the Maserati Grecale. Much like other brands under the Stellantis umbrella, Maserati has been struggling with poor build quality and rapidly falling value. The Grecale, their most affordable model, is built on an Alfa Romeo platform and uses a mix of Stellantis parts, including some shared with Dodge and Jeep. The result? A car filled with problems. The build quality is awful, there are constant electrical issues, and the repair costs are terrifying. When I personally test drove the Grecale, it honestly felt like the worst of both worlds. Luxury styling on the outside, but unreliable and overpriced under the hood. The Maserati Grecale may be the brand's most affordable SUV, but it doesn't feel luxurious or special in any meaningful way. It's a bland, generic vehicle that lacks character. Unfortunately, it still carries all the headaches and high maintenance costs of an expensive Italian luxury car. It's easy to see why Maseratis lose their value quickly. After just a few years, hardly anyone wants to buy them. And they're often not even worth the cost of the parts and labor it would take to fix them. And it's not just gas-powered vehicles that come with these kinds of concerns. Even many newer electric vehicles, or EVs, are starting to show similar problems, especially when it comes to Audi's first-generation e-tron models. While EVs are supposed to be simpler, with fewer moving parts and less maintenance than traditional engines, this ideal doesn't hold up for some manufacturers. Audi has long been known for making gas-powered cars that are complex and not very reliable, and unfortunately their EVs seem to follow the same trend. The first-generation e-tron, along with the e-tron Q8 and e-tron Q4, are plagued with ongoing electrical failures, cooling system issues, and even motor breakdowns, sometimes happening at surprisingly low mileage. Since Audi is still fairly new to the EV market, it's not too surprising that their early efforts are running into serious problems. Mercedes-Benz is facing similar issues with its line of EQ electric vehicles. Like Audi, Mercedes doesn't have much experience building EVs, but it does have a reputation for making complicated and unreliable cars. That's not a good combination, and the EQ line, including the EQB, EQE, and EQS, is proving it. These models suffer from many of the same problems: electrical malfunctions, motor failures, and even high-voltage battery breakdowns. Just imagine how expensive it would be to fix one of these systems once the warranty expires, so expensive in fact, that owners might simply have to scrap the vehicle altogether. While some EVs are unreliable because of complex and buggy technology, others seem doomed from the start. One clear example is the VinFast VF8. If you've never heard of VinFast, you're not alone. It's a brand new car company from Vietnam, and they only recently started selling EVs in North America. Buying a highly complex car from a new manufacturer with no track record is always risky, and in this case, those risks appear to be very real. According to a BBC report, a former chassis engineer at VinFast revealed that the company was cutting corners on safety and using low-quality parts in an effort to save money. He claimed that some parts failed after just 25,000 kilometers, even though they're supposed to last 150,000 kilometers. That's less than 1/5 the normal lifespan. Even more troubling, the engineer, who was later fired for speaking out, warned that VinFast's poor build quality was not just disappointing but potentially dangerous. The U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, has already launched an investigation into VinFast safety issues, and sadly, one fatal crash involving a family of 4 in California has already been reported. Now, I understand that VinFast is doing everything it can to attract new buyers, offering eye-catching lease deals and even a 10-year warranty. But let's be honest, how confident can anyone really be that this company will still be around long enough to honor that warranty? What happens when you need a major repair, but there are very few service centers, limited parts availability, and almost no repair support? And now that there are reports of the company intentionally cutting corners with build quality, we don't need a crystal ball to see that the long-term outlook for these cars isn't great. There's also a much bigger problem with many of these new low-volume electric vehicles, and that's whether they'll even be repairable in the future. Yes, unreliable design and high repair costs are bad enough, but these EVs come with a different kind of risk: planned obsolescence. EV technology is changing incredibly fast, and automakers know that the cars they sell today will become outdated in just a few years. The real issue is that many of them have no long-term plan to support these vehicles once they're out of date. That means no parts, no updates, and no repairs, just a car that quickly becomes unusable. So, if you're thinking of buying one of these EVs and keeping it for the long haul, you could end up in a tough situation. That's why most of these vehicles only make sense to lease for 3 or 4 years, and then return before problems start. If you hang on to them longer, you'll be counting on the aftermarket industry to step in and offer support, which might not happen, especially with such low production models.
Share your thoughts on this video, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Feel free to explore my other video content by clicking the interactive links conveniently located in the upper corner of your screen. Alternatively, you can find direct links to a variety of other significant and relevant videos within the video description section below for easy access and viewing.